Now, your local weather authority.
Well, as we are looking for our highs today, most places, all the places did reach up into the 80s, kind of tapping out there at that mid 80s. Some places did see those upper 80s there in Champaign. What I want to look at right now is a tropical tracker. So right now there is a tropical depression 9 is what it's called. It's kind of making its way up the Atlantic coastline here. It could turn into a category 1 hurricane, and then it's going to deflect over to the east. So if you're seeing stuff about how North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia is going to get a lot of rain here in the upcoming days, that's what we are looking at, because there's actually two things going on. There is another system that is out more in the Atlantic Ocean, a hurricane that is now formed. It's at a hurricane or category 5. And this is going to easily deflect back over into the east. But what's interesting about this is the tropical depression that's happening about the same time. This hurricane is actually sucking it over. And so when we're looking at the rain chances and the rain totals there in the Atlantic coast, some of it is varying because actually of this hurricane that's happening at about the same time. But in our area, nothing showing up. We're actually going to stay very dry for the next week, which is something we were used to about 2 weeks ago. Then we finally got some rain. Now we're back to another dry spell again. Nothing showing up on our Dorsa Automotive Doppler radar. When we look here at our 7-day precip, you can see that there's some rain happening down there on the Atlantic coast. But as we go into our area, and it's pretty regional, it's pretty widespread that this dryness is going to be put in place for the next several days. Our cyclocast at 7 p.m. you can see 79, that sunny sky out there. It's pretty nice, but it is dry, I will say. Temperature change in the last 24 hours, you can even see it here. We've elevated a couple of degrees. Tomorrow and also on Monday, we're looking at a high of 90. But our high for today, 84. The record was set back in 2019 with a high of 89. Look at that. So we only had a 5-degree temperature difference between the record high and the air temperature recorded for the day today. We must have gotten a little sprinkle here at the station because we do have a measurement of some precip here. But overall, we are just sitting right at that average for the year and what we're used to seeing. Right now in Terre Haute, 85. Dew point is 57. So if you want to look at what it feels like, it's actually working in reverse. Normally what it feels like is normally warmer, but because of that low humidity and that dew point temperature being very low, that dryness is actually sucking in that warmer air, and it's actually a little bit cooler than what the air temperature is reading. On our water vapor satellite, you can see this dryness in the area. We have winds coming actually out of the southeast, so we're actually getting a lot of this dryness right now. But then when you look to the very southeast, there's a lot of moisture going on. There's kind of this nice little band of moisture here you can see on that water vapor satellite. It's kind of making its way through our area, and we are going to be pretty dry for the next several days. Now, that rain that we received last week, was it enough to squash that drought? It was not. This was recorded last Tuesday, but then comes out on Thursday. So they do the recordings on Tuesday, and then they post it on the Thursday. So I'll be interested to see what that drought monitor looks like when it comes out on Thursday, but it definitely wasn't enough to squash the drought. In some areas, I feel are still going to be in that moderate, and especially as harvest is ensuing, there's a lot of dust, a lot of stuff going on in that dry air. Winds for the next 48 hours, you can kind of see that they're cycling a little bit here. That air mass is trying to decide which one is going to push which way. Overall, we are dealing with warm temperatures overall. But tonight we are going to clear, it's clear, and we're going to cool off to 52. As we look at tomorrow though, look at that, 90 and sunny. Again, that dew point temperature isn't going to be elevated, so it's not going to feel super humid, but it's still going to feel pretty hot out there. And as we take a look at our 7-day forecast, those lows are in the 50s, but man, once we get into the afternoon heat of the day, it's going to feel pretty hot out there. Wednesday is actually going to be the start of October, and it's going to be a very warm start considering the average for this time of year is reaching those mid 70s.